Welcome to our luxurious Charlotte studios. The expert panel is here to, it's actually a garage, but we like to try to build it up. The expert panel is here to try to break down and tell you everything that happened in Darlington this weekend. What great finishes we had, what great racing we saw. We're going to talk about it all next on NASCAR Inside Winston Cup Racing. Stay tuned.
Spectacular, incredible, pick your description. That was the finish at Darlington on Sunday as Ricky Craven edged Kurt Busch at the checkers. The end of a race that saw Busch make a third to first pass for the lead. And some of the race's dominant drivers have problems in the late going. Hi, welcome to the It Doesn't Get Any Better Than That edition of NASCAR Inside Winston Cup. If you're seeing this Monday night at 7 Eastern Time, we are live from Charlotte. Another career-endangering edition of the program from our Charlotte garage, where our expert panel will take you through all of the wonderful happenings from Darlington this weekend. We welcome to the show Michael Waltrip, driver of the Napa Chevy for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, Johnny Benson, driver of the Valvoline Pontiac for MBV Racing, and Ken Schrader, driver of the 1-800-CALL-ATT Dodge for BAM Racing, who started 15th and finished 17th on Sunday.
Yeah, a couple guys got around me right there at the end. You know, but now we got off on just during a couple segments. The car was good. This was a little tight here.
Why'd you do that?
Yeah, well, I elected to give Kyle a little bit more room after I got looking at it. But we had Carrot Top there in the pits with us all day, kind of helping us with some chassis adjustments and stuff. And wasn't good, but it was better, and we're happy with it. And take the same car to Bristol, which will be the fourth time we've run it this year, just because we like it, and it's kind of neat to be able to use the same car over.
So you're going to bring it to Bristol, which means you may not get to run it again afterwards?
Well, it was the Atlanta car and the Bristol car, so it's very versatile.
Will Carrot Top be on the hood at Bristol?
Carrot Top is on the hood and on the fenders and partway on the doors. He's all over.
Yeah.
The man's got a lot. You think you got some hair going on. He's really got more.
He's a lot of fun.
He's a good guy.
I'm glad you guys are associated with him.
He was there this weekend at Darlington. Johnny started 22nd, finished 25th.
Yeah, same boat as Kenny. Lost a couple spots here, but we were actually okay at the beginning of the race, and then things started getting worse and worse, and just pretty much struggled. But pit stops are great most of the day, and we just couldn't quite get it to where we wanted to, and just kind of struggled there at the end. Got caught in the pits once. Under one caution kind of hurt us, and outside that, is where we ended up.
Mikey, the results will show that you started fairly close to the front, wound up with a top 5 finish. The reality is you started last in a backup car that you hadn't practiced and wound up finishing 5th.
Yeah, it was a good day. I was so confident with the boys. I felt like that they would fix my car to be competitive on Sunday. I don't know. I mean, I just felt like it was going to be a good day.
Check out this line through 4 and how much you're on the gas.
We had a good line. It was close to the wall, so I figured if I hit it, it wouldn't hurt too bad.
We do the show live Monday night because the Busch Series race ran earlier today.
That didn't work out at all.
But you didn't hit it that hard, like you said. You were right there.
I know it. That's just confusing as to what all went on, but basically I wrecked.
Hey, Aaron's Dream Machine had a nightmarish day.
Hey, I did a pretty good job Sunday, though, huh?
Yes, you did.
And the good thing about wrecking was I was able to get home in time tonight to take a bath and fix my hair before I came to the show. So I got a nice hairdo tonight. I'm going to New York tomorrow for men to get my hair fixed, so it's going to be different next week. And I know all the at-heart racers that are home, like the guys in the pits and they're working on the car, like, I don't give a darn about his hair. Why you always talk about his hair? But you know, I'm
sound like Harry Gant there when you say that.
Harry asked me one time, he said, why all your hair grow out your forehead like that? My hair has been an issue forever. So.
I sympathize. I understand. Here are the top 10.
Yours is just molded down. How do you know?
It's just my hair. That's just the way it is. Top 10 finishers from Sunday's race.
Let's talk about Sunday's race. Do you see who finished 5th?
Yes, I do. It's Old Mike.
Old Mike, right in there.
$69,000 for 2 inches.
Yeah, Ricky Craven over Kurt Busch, you speak of. Our expert panel's analysis of the Darlington race. And boys, there are a lot to talk about when we get to the finish of that one. Greg Biffle is here to be in the hot seat. Missed the Busch Series race at Darlington today. This was how they came to the finish line. We'll show you the rest of it in a little while. Plus, look at the Busch Series race, too. The truck race, rather.
We're going to look at a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Speed Channel's coverage of NASCAR Inside Winston Cup is brought to you by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Call 1-800-RENT-A-CAR.
Check headlines now on NASCAR Inside Winston Cup. Bud Pole qualifying from Darlington Friday. Elliott Sadler was the man. His first Bud Pole award, 170.147 miles an hour. For Robert Yates Racing, Sadler the fast qualifier at Darlington. Remember this? Trouble. From Rockingham's Busch Series race, Mike Wallace's appeal to the National Stock Car Commission denied this past week. More on that in a minute. That's Johnny's crew chief James Ince. He was fined $1,000 after Atlanta.
Trouble.
For an unapproved fuel filler check valve, and Bill Elliott's crew chief Mike Ford fined $1,000 after Atlanta for altering his car on pit road after it came through the template inspection.
Does that mean he kicked the front fenders out? Probably.
I don't know, but when $4,000 of fines is the most we got to talk about, that's a slow
news week.
That's slow news week.
Yeah, it really was.
But
Mike
Elliott
Wallace
laid the pole down.
Did you see that car? He looked perfect coming off that corner. That's a man's pole when you win a pole at Darlington.
Oh, stop it.
Really
Would you
get on
stop it? Would you stop it? We were just having that conversation. And you had mentioned something about people
this and that.
Not
here and there.
People not giving
over and over. Go ahead, Alan. What did you say?
You want to continue with this?
People not giving the respect because of the equipment and stuff to the Daytona 500 winner and what it takes to win Daytona 500. And we told you we thought that was a huge deal, and it always was. That's the major race. That's the granddaddy.
Until
and you won it twice and screwed everything up.
The Mike Wallace thing.
He presented his case in a professional and
succinct and sincere manner.
I love that. It's like, you did a great job. Pay at the gate on your way out. And that's basically what it amounted to. But that commission, over the years, I've deemed that deal to be pretty fair. If you see something that's out of whack, or you think something's out of whack, and you have some facts, they'll back you up on it. So they just felt like what went over the TV was not something that they should reverse, and I'm proud of Mike for pleading his case in such a professional manner, but also understand that the commission has to do what they think is right, and this time it cost him $3,000, along with your crew chief, who was jacking with his
actually
overflow.
We weren't jacking with it. The deal was we tested Texas the day before, and we didn't get it switched over, forgot about it, and because we put the test cell in there. So you don't have, you're going to wreck all your good stuff in case I happen to put it in the fence. And
so your test cell was really good is what you're saying.
No, it was illegal.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, and then we pulled it out at the track, and he went, oh, trouble. And he ran up to get it out of the other thing. By then, they're already taking it and fined us for it. So.
But that's like nothing. I mean, that's just a mistake.
That was not a big deal.
It was.
Oh, no, it counted.
I mean, it counts.
As we said in one of the few press releases that crossed the desk this week, that was one of them.
Yeah.
All right, more serious matters then. Have we seen the last spring race at Darlington?
I don't know. I have an opinion on that. What do y'all think about this deal? I thought about this on the way home today. What if they said, okay, we're not going to take a race away from Darlington, but we're going to alternate Darlington with another track every other year? Why permanently take one away? Yeah. Why not say we'll run Darlington every other year, and on the years that we don't run Darlington, maybe we'll run Kansas City, or perhaps we'll run California? I think that would be a great way to spread our sport across the country, get us in more venues in different places in the country, but yet allow tracks like Darlington to have so much history to go forward in our sport. If you did every other year, they could be racing in Darlington in 2050.
Plus, they'd probably sell them out. I mean, that's all they're looking for anyways. But, man, 2 great races. Look at the races that they had. Were just unbelievable.
And the tracks, Darlington, Rockingham, are the best tracks on the circuit. And the tracks that we've built... Because they're banked, and they're slick, and they're tight, and they're fun.
And they're great racing.
But my opinion on the change is, don't make anything permanent. Don't take something away. Just say, we're going to bump y'all back to once every other year. And what do y'all think?
And they still got one race.
Did you think
of
that?
Taking away both.
I think that because you dropped out early or wrecked early, you had a lot of time to think on the way home.
Plus, I got to fix my hair.
Did you think of that? Because that's the first time I've heard that proposed.
And that's exactly what I was hoping, that no one had heard that before, because I thought that all by myself. Do you think I'm stupid, Schrader, or do you think that's a good idea?
Ed Scholl from Gatorade.
Mm-hmm. He already say that?
Well, he said take New Hampshire, Pocono, Dover. Every 3rd year, one of them doesn't have a race, and you take that date and go to one of the other major tracks you want to go to.
I just think that that's something they should look at. It doesn't have to be every year, and it doesn't have to be not It doesn't have to be permanent, whatever they do. Why not just mix it up, mix the schedule
Have you
up?
talked to Helton or Bill Jr. about this?
Most of the time,
You
when
build
I
up
talk
to
to
it.
Helton, it's like, hey, Mike, how you doing? He said, fine, Mike, how you doing? And if I say, I have something I want to talk about, I really want to get with you on that, but I'm real busy right now. Not going to happen.
But it does sound like a great idea.
Thanks, Johnny.
I see Kenny wasn't going to answer your...
No.
I think I'm behind you. I'll vote for you.
I'm thinking about running for political office one day.
Up next, our expert panel will review the race from Darlington on Sunday. First, the Bud Pole Award standings. 5 for 5 this year. 5 different pole winners in 5 races.
I always wanted to win Darlington. Always, always, always. It's just, well, it's too tough to tame. And I think as a racer, you really get up for a place like this. Once we got side by side, that's when it got exciting. And I got to be honest, I didn't know we won. I mean, we got to the finish line, and I thought, this is a tough way to lose a race, but a great way to win one.
Ricky Craven led only 1 lap on Sunday at Darlington, but it was the one that counted most as he took the Carolina Dodge dealers 400 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. We review the event now with our expert panel, Michael Waltrip, Johnny Benson, and Ken Schrader. Race summary, check out the margin of victory, 2 1/1000ths of a second, the closest finish since NASCAR began electronically timing the races and able to keep track of such things back in 1993.
3 hours and 10 minutes of action at Darlington Speedway. Isn't that cool that you have a 400-mile race that provides 3 hours and 10 minutes of action, and it comes down to 2/1000ths of a second after all that time? It's amazing. Macy, go to bed. I forgot. I was supposed to say hi to you in the first segment. I love you. It's time for bed.
Okay.
He's making me tired, I know that.
Let's go to some of the race action now. Kind of a halting start. 5 of the 7 cautions in the first 68 laps. Let's look at the first 3 now. Lap 6.
This is big whenever you can spin out.
How do you do that?
In front of the field. I'm a lot better, I think, because whenever I spin out, I hit something like you're supposed to.
That's Jerry Nadeau. He was running second at the time of this.
I get so confused about how everybody spins out and don't hit anything.
Well, there was people that hit each
there.
other behind.
Bottom of the screen,
Yeah.
watch McMurray trying to zip on through.
42 car thought he'd pick up some spots there, and he ran into Matt Kenseth.
That wasn't a good deal.
And that's such a bad place down there to be trying to go to.
Lap 13, watch Jack Sprague in the 0. This is off turn 4.
Oh, trouble. Did anybody hit him? I wasn't watching. I was watching Johnny almost run
Yeah,
into
you thought
Kenny.
that was going to be in this highlight.
I was thinking, I don't remember getting hit.
You almost did.
Now, the big caution. It started off turn 4 between Jimmy Johnson and Sterling Marlin. By the time they get to turn 2, there's about a half a dozen of them in a smoking heap.
Oh, watch the 1-800-CALL ATT Dodge here.
All right, where's it at?
Wait a minute. Well, they don't show it.
We will.
But, well, there it is.
Yeah, right
But
through
the neat
middle.
part was
Clunk,
I couldn't see nothing or it wouldn't turn, and when I opened my eyes, I missed everything.
Sterling, obviously, when he got down to the corner there, I think the tire that did come apart, look at all the oil getting up on the screen there. And it got extremely slippery.
Look how narrow it is right there. You don't have a chance hardly to avoid an accident like that unless you guess right in the early going. And Robbie was up high. He needed to be down low, but he didn't know that. He can't see anything.
And it was slippery. Like I say, he dumped some oil and some
All the
water.
oil.
There.
And Sterling hit that wall pretty hard. I know because I hit it there on Saturday morning in the same area.
place.
Another topic for another time. All of those caution flags putting people on different pit stop schedules.
The knowledge amazes me.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, I know one thing, yeah. What you were saying. Lap 6,
Thank you.
I'm running 11th. I don't pit. I guess the world pits behind us.
Right.
Lap 13 or whatever. Well, it's time for us to come in.
Now
I
you're
think
running
I'll
30.
line up 34th. It's
Right.
like, we didn't do anything wrong. Well,
That was
I
tough.
did
It's
something
just
wrong.
different strategies. You
5
know,
laps.
Some people pitted on the first one, and some people pitted on the
Well,
second.
5 laps into the race, people are pitting, and we did the same thing at 10 or 12 laps, but those are tough. I mean, the owners hate that place when the yellow comes out, I'm sure.
Yeah, they said Jimmy Smith called the spotter on the cell phone and said, "Thanks for not pitting that time. You saved me $1,500."
Is that how much tires are?
Oh, stop it.
You should know that from that Aaron's Dream Machine.
I know.
Depressed him thinking about it.
Luckily, you wrecked today and you didn't burn up a bunch more.
3 sets, 2 in practice and 1 to start the race.
Okay. But if you'd run the whole race, you'd have used up more.
Plus, I got to fix my hair.
Okay. What would happen next?
We move forward. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will establish a somewhat commanding lead, led by a straightaway on second place at one point.
Man, my crew chief called me up and said, Junior's only 10 seconds back of you, but he's 4/10 faster than anybody right now. So he was on it early in the going.
His lead would be taken away by this caution.
That's two guys battling for position as they enter turn one. You'll have that occasionally at Darlington. But they both spin out and don't hit anything. Again.
Yeah,
looks like 22 running 12, though.
Yeah, it's real
basically
narrow getting into one there. And like I say, he drops down on the apron, which is probably didn't help.
Now, would that be a succinct description of what happened? Was Schrader saying that the 22 ran into 12?
Yep.
That's why.
And just to prove that you can be you can be good somewhere and still mess up. 22 won the Southern 500 before.
After the caution and after the pit stops, Junior's no longer the dominant car. Mark Martin.
In the Viagra Ford.
He got pretty good during that section of the race too, and was actually good all day until later he had some problems.
All the early cautions now out of the way, and a long green flag run ensues. Darlington's pit road, perhaps the hardest on the circuit to get onto for a green flag stop. We illustrate with Kurt Busch.
That yellow line is very important. See it running off the end of the wall? You really have to use that line to get into the pits. And Kurt got in there a little hot, obviously, couldn't make it. Now, isn't that cool? You can drive a Winston Cup car and run at 130 or 40 miles an hour, burn the tires off of it. Did you see him doing that? Taking off.
That's pretty neat.
These cars are fun to drive. For you motor enthusiasts at home that like your 72 Camaros and 67 Mustangs, you ought to drive one of these things. They'll flat run.
Lap 190, caution number 6. John Andretti gets the worst of this one off turn 4. Jimmy Spencer's the other car.
Yeah, he got bumped in the left rear here, and I think it takes his valve core out or tears a tire up.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
And
this will be
Stop.
big.
Stop, John. Stop.
He did.
He did, yeah. But that was just instant.
stop.
That tire came apart. Instant,
Yeah.
and then
Fast.
blew the
Bam.
part. It had to be a head cut tire because it wouldn't come out of the valve stem that quick, and it blew the tire apart, which blew the quarter panel off, and it was...
happened pretty fast.
And that's
Yeah.
one of those things where Spencer had fresher tires, shuffling of pit stops, and so you got guys coming up on people and the closing speeds and all that. It's got to be one of the harder things to handle.
It's tough, man. It's tough to not hit somebody when you're on the same tires, and when your tires are different, it's even harder. You know, you hate.
Usually it's easier when your tires are different because yours are good. I mean, if yours are the good tires.
As far as
I don't mean to disagree with you, but you
No,
know,
go ahead.
When we're all yeah, let's be at first, right? Yeah. when we're all sliding around, we usually allow each other a little more room.
right. But sometimes the speed is so different that when you're
Good point, Mikey. Good
see
point.
there, even though we disagreed, we were able to come to common ground. That's
Yes.
why we're such good.
Works out good.
What do you call
The
it?
caution for Andretti's crash came after some had made green flag pit stops. When racing resumed, a handful of drivers were looking to get a lap back from now leader Jeff Gordon.
That looks pretty serious.
Jeff was real serious about keeping Dale Jarrett down a lap here.
Yeah,
It looks like he does it.
that was with 89 to go.
She did. That looks like some good race in there, but it looks like they got together a couple of times there. It's pretty big.
Concern for Jeff's right front fender at the time after
Well,
that contact.
concern for Dale's right to have a little space. You know, I'm sure they were both just fighting over ground, so Dale wasn't concerned about Jeff's fender. And
No, Jeff was concerned about Jeff's fender, though, I would think.
That's garage floor right there, if y'all are wondering at home. Right there, garage floor.
Time for a commercial break. Up next, this three-wide move for the lead by Kurt Busch. Just the beginning of the excitement at the finish Sunday at Darlington. We're back to Charlotte in our garage in a minute.
We had all the elements except for one, and we lost another one there at the end. And we're just trying to do the best we can and piece things together. 3 second-place finishes. There's a reason why we're not in victory lane. So we're working as hard as we can with our Rubbermaid Ford.
Our whole program is just a little bit better. I mean, our race cars are a little better, our body, just a little bit everywhere. And Booty's done a good job with the attitudes from the first guy to the last guy on this team, and it's showing.
Thoughts of second and third place finishers Kurt Busch and Dave Blaney from the Carolina Dodge Dealers 400 at Darlington on Sunday. We continue our review now with Michael, Johnny, and Kenny. Remember that Mark Martin has been one of the dominant drivers throughout the middle of the race. His chance to win, though, would take a little bit of a blow on a pit stop after a debris caution. Watch the official around the left front of the car when Mark goes to leave pit road.
This is a pretty tough deal. I mean, the guys are trying to do the fastest pit stops that you can do because they're so important today. And
But
looks
you
like
have-
just one lug nut, and you have to have them on there. I mean, there's
You
no
have to
doubt about it.
commend the official, too, to make that call. That's a tough call to make. But as fast as the pit stops are, if the crews didn't have the responsibility of those officials hanging over top of them and knowing they had to get them all on there, then maybe they get a little lax in getting the nuts in place. And so I think it's commendable that the hey, I'm trying to tell a story. I'm trying to be succinct and sincere.
Don't use a lot of words that you
That I don't know the meaning to.
Yeah, right. Okay.
In the meantime,
I think it was a good deal.
Meantime, the clock's running,
it's
so here
bad
we
for
go.
Mark.
Couldn't
Just
you have
after the
just said that?
restart, Kurt Busch tries Jeff Gordon for the lead and ends up getting pushed back to third by Elliott Sadler. Then Busch gets back by both of them in one shot.
This is pretty tough coming off this corner because momentum is such a huge deal, and the two of them got racing, and Kurt just had a heck of a run, obviously, there to get by him. But we've seen that a lot during the day, that you could get 3 wide going down through there.
When Kurt cuts to the left here, man, you're like almost in the marbles right there.
You see Elliott back right off. You see it coming.
Yeah, it wasn't cool. I mean, it was a great move.
It was cool, yeah.
It was a cool move. I mean, it wasn't.
It was good.
Wouldn't have been cool for them all three to go in the corner.
No.
What I meant to say.
Wouldn't have worked.
We move on. Ricky Craven puts on a late charge, gets to second place, and begins closing on Kurt Busch, who by now is having power steering problems. 3 to go. Craven tries for the lead, and the sparks start flying.
I mean, it's hard enough to drive at Darlington with power steering. And I don't know if you've ever seen Kurt's arms, but I've seen bigger muscles on a squirrel's leg.
This is tough, Rager, because you can see Ricky get loose, and that kind of...
That's going to leave a mark.
And watch Kurt.
Payback.
Yeah.
Power steering or not, buddy, you don't run into me. You drove right in the back of him and got...
And could have probably wrecked him. He got him just enough to get back by him.
What a great job.
Which made for a great, obviously, the other corner.
If there's anything we know about Ricky Craven over the last 5 years, it's that he doesn't give up. He doesn't give up easily. He didn't give up after he dropped that ground to Kurt, closed back in on him at the white flag, caught him, and our Enterprise turning point has to be the final half lap of this race.
How could it not be? This is just great racing and wonderful TV.
This was a classic.
This was great. I mean, Ricky's car was so good coming off there, off turn 4 there, and you could see Kurt getting all squirrely, and he's going to use every bit of racetrack, though, and just a great finish.
Golly, look at that.
You're not done yet.
And Kurt,
and how they both kept him wrecking right there.
Yeah. When his car got sideways up in the middle of 3 and 4, when you try to turn a car to the right with no power steering, it's next to impossible.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was even able to drive off of turn 4 is amazing, and then come 0.02 of a second within winning.
They both could have very easily gone to the inside wall and both wrecked coming off this corner. Like Mike says, they're already tied up. Kurt doesn't have power steering. This could have been a lot worse, but it was ended up being a great race. Great finish.
Check this out. 2 1,000ths of a second, about 3 inches.
Wow. Jack will be wanting some more kick out on him.
Yeah. Check out the Pontiac nose and the Ford nose, right?
Hey,
there it is.
Where's the finish line?
Is it the start of the finish?
Is it the start or the end of it?
Is it at www.lasvegasmotorspeedway.com?
Stop it. I'm asking a
My
serious
understanding is the beginning of that line.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
The turn 4 side of that line.
Okay. You can see the finishing order. Mike Skinner had a great run in his Pontiac. He was strong all day long. Unfortunately, lost a lap in the pits, made 1 up. Steve Park finished 20th in the Pinzole.
Can you tell we're running late? They're not waiting for us. They're just flying right on through
I like this live TV stuff. They don't wait on us.
Congratulations to Ricky Craven's second career Winston Cup win. The hot seat is next. Greg Biffle's here if he's willing to try this. We'll see in just a minute.
He's got pretty good credentials. I bet he'll come on out.
Okay.
He'll swagger out here.
After winning the NASCAR Busch Series Championship last season, he's on his rookie tour in the Winston Cup circuit in 2003. Now joining us, driver of the Granger Ford for Roush Racing, Greg Biffle. How are you?
I'm good.
You've been sitting in the back room watching this first half hour.
Yes, I have.
I turn you over for questioning to our esteemed panel.
Oh, no, that could be trouble. I'm telling you.
Spokane, Washington's Greg Biffle.
Spokane. Vancouver.
Darn it.
That's Chad Little.
Yeah, never mind. I don't have any questions then.
Well, tell us about where you come from and how'd you get here then?
Just, you know, started racing late models and doing all that stuff like you guys did, and ended up getting here through Benny Parsons and running good, and just won the lottery, actually.
Won the lottery?
That's about how it happened.
Well, you run, I think I remember when you run a lot of truck races and late model races out there at Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah, I did. I ran some Winston West shows and ran late models, and then came in the truck series in '98. Won Rookie of the Year there, and almost won the championship in '99, but I won 9 times, but didn't missed it by a little bit. But able to do it in 2000. I enjoyed the Busch Series a bunch. I mean, I had a great time racing the Busch Series, and hopefully get back to racing the Busch Series someday with Michael if I could. Didn't go as good as you wanted today, but
you don't
I
have to
love
run all
running the
day.
Busch races.
I mean, you work up a sweater or nothing doing that.
I think one of the greatest truck races I ever saw was you at Las Vegas with Sprague.
Oh, yeah.
That was crazy. I've never seen anybody drive a truck more out of control than you did for the lead. I mean, I've driven my car a bunch that out of control, but I was running 30th. That was wild.
Those trucks, they drive so weird. They actually draft on a 1.5-mile racetrack or a 2-mile racetrack. If you, I remember at Michigan, I won every truck race at Michigan. And you come off of turn 4, and if you kind of move down and move up and don't let that guy follow behind you, they can't keep up. It's like Talladega or Daytona. You know, keeping up. You know, if they can't draft up to you, I mean, it makes a big difference. And if you let them draft up to you, they can literally just pass you on the straightaway if they're not faster than you in the corner. So.
It's so weird to me that you see guys come into this sport occasionally, as Jamie McMurray did when he debuted his truck deal at Michigan, got the pole, and you were the same way. You know, it was obvious from the time you drove a truck that you were bound for bigger things. How was it trying to be patient and say, okay, I'm going to drive this truck a while and I'm going to run Busch a while, but eventually I know where I'm going? Especially when Jack kind of ran Kurt in and shot him right into Cup. How did you deal with all that?
Well, it's...
I'm trying to make up for that stupid thing I said earlier when I said you were from Spokane.
Job security is not something that we really have in our sport, really. And I felt like I had some being with Roush and Granger. And Granger came in and wanted to do a 3-year truck deal. And so I signed up, and we came in. And after 2 years, we're thinking, do we want to go Busch racing a year early? We're not really ready. Prepared Busch cars wise and people. So we ran the 3rd year, and before I started the 3rd year of the truck series, and that's, by the way, that's the first year Kurt came on board, I signed a 4-year deal to go 2 years of Busch, 2 years of Winston Cup. So I knew I was going Winston Cup racing in 2003, 4 years ago, you know, or actually 3 years ago now. So that's how I was patient. I knew that we're going to run 2 years of Busch, and then we're going Winston Cup racing. And that's what Granger wanted to do, the sponsor. We pitched 1 year of Busch, 3 years of Cup, and they wanted the 2 years of Busch. So it's really a set plan I had with a sponsor, and it's been a great...
And a good plan.
Yeah, it was.
A great plan. You won the championship.
I had opportunities to go Winston Cup racing right out of the trucks, and I look back, and I'm so glad that Granger wanted to do the 2 years of Busch and not just one. You know, because I was able to win the championship there, and I wouldn't have ever gotten that opportunity, really, if I wouldn't have done that. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's cool.
Finished 13th in Atlanta, 12th at Darlington. A couple of solid runs for a team that, you know, moved up together from the Busch Series. It's, you know, okay, Las Vegas hurt a little bit, but it's really going pretty well, I think.
It is. It's going good right now, and you know, we're pretty excited about the program we got. Really, we're lacking cars, and I heard you've run the same car about everywhere now. And,
yeah.
We're doing that same thing. That was our Rockingham car, and then our Atlanta car we're taking to Texas. And I get to go to Bristol and Martinsville with a brand new car we've never tested before. So that's tough doing stuff like that. You know, the car has no history, never been in the wind tunnel. Like our Vegas car had been in the wind tunnel, wasn't that good. And we knew it wasn't good. And actually what backed us in that corner, we tested out there for 2 days. We spent a day and a half on race practice, and right at the end I blew a right front tire and hit the wall and tore the side of it up some. So we spent the rest of the day fixing it and made like 5 qualifying runs and weren't very good. And knew we weren't good, but we blamed it on the car being half wrecked. Well, we came back in qualifying trim and weren't very good. So it didn't make it.
It's easy to miss one, isn't it?
Easy to do.
It is, and it's just a matter of compiled information. You know, I didn't know that we were going to be that far off, so that's the way it goes.
Got to take a commercial break. Hang with us for a little bit.
Sure.
I know you will, because we're not going to give you a chance to leave. Greg Biffle is with us, defending NASCAR Busch Series champion. Reminder, coming up this weekend, NASCAR on Fox from Bristol. What more need we say? Bristol, 12:30 Sunday Eastern Time on Fox. We'll be right back. Here we go. This Busch Series update is brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinking Busch Light. Head for the mountains of Busch. Didn't see the NASCAR Busch Series race from Darlington today. Todd Bodine won it. The finish, every bit as good as Sunday's Winston Cup race. We'll give you a quick taste of it now here on NASCAR Inside Winston Cup. First, we start with Mikey's Dream Machine.
That's not cool.
Well, we sort of figured you'd be disappointed at us if we didn't give you your chance, so.
At least I'm going to get on TV.
Left of the screen, he'll come into the picture now.
Yeah, well, that was trouble.
Whoa. Yeah.
They just kept hitting me. Here comes that one and hits me. That was the deal where we had, we just scrubbed the wall earlier, and I guess it cut the right front eventually and got in the wall.
And one
you
part
can see right here, watch.
Earlier you were talking, you weren't sure if maybe that didn't bend the car up. What part did you think wasn't going to bend this up as you kept getting hit here?
I just was being optimistic.
At least you're okay.
Talking with his wallet, being optimistic.
It's just been a bad day. I called him from Spokane, and then I wrecked my Busch car.
We'll keep going and try and get you back in the groove of things here, Mikey. The race ran green from just before halfway to the finish. The leaders all pitted with 25 to go, except Stacy Compton. With 21 to go, he had a full lap lead on Todd Bodine and Jamie McMurray. But with 3 to go, Bodine and McMurray caught him.
That's a long way to make up, but you know, new tires are everything in Darlington, and you can see they're just bearing down on Stacy. Stacy thought he had it won. I heard him talking with 5 to go, but man, they can close some ground.
And look at these guys are running pretty hard. You know, obviously for second, gonna be for first. Well, that's huge.
3 wide, turn 2, Darlington, beautiful.
Wow.
That's great.
And nobody wrecked.
Great.
Not until the end.
Yeah. That was just a preview of the finish. McMurray goes after Bodine in the final turn of the final corner of the race. And just a hint here, one of them is going to cross the finish line sideways.
Now, you see here the white one's in the lead and the yellow one's second.
He's probably thinking he's got it pretty much covered here.
Yeah, but watch what happens here. The yellow one gets the lead.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it passed him on the top.
But then the white one's
wrecked.
They wreck, and the white one wins.
That was the checkered flag.
You see Todd get loose and then was trying to correct it. Just
he was out of control at that point.
Oh yeah, but
it's last corner. He's not going to take his foot out of the gas, right?
I think Todd was probably thinking as he was going into turn 3, you know what? I got plenty of room here, and then next thing you know, he's right there.
But when he went back that way, he certainly didn't mean to.
No, it was out. It was over then. What a great finish for 2 days of racing at Darlington. Could you believe it?
I can't. It's awesome.
It's unreal.
So Todd Bodine with the win as we check out the top 10 finishers in the DarlingtonRaceway.com 200. Nice run for Hank Parker Jr., who will join me on the Inside the NASCAR Busch Series show for a further review of this race, as well as Friday's Craftsman Truck Series race from Darlington. We'll give you a sneak preview on that one now. Bobby Hamilton putting his vast Darlington experience to good use and almost squishing the dog getting out of the truck.
Look at his little schnauzer.
Yeah, the dog didn't look hot from that wreck. Or race.
That race, yeah.
I wonder where the dog rode.
Must have a little dog seat in there with a seatbelt.
Yeah.
Ted Musgrave led early and often in that one. Kevin Harvick moved up and challenged him for the lead by Harvick getting by Rick Crawford pretty quickly, by Musgrave, by Hamilton.
And he was on his way, but then his motor messed up.
Yeah.
But then those 2 cats right there, you can't hardly beat the experience that Ted and Bobby have at Darlington, and they were able to wear guys down and eventually decided among themselves.
That was when things went away from Mr. Harvick. And
sometimes in Owensboro we say amongst.
Watch Hamilton try and get the lead on Musgrave while he's messing with Harvick.
That's a good move.
And actually got pretty squirrely here off turn 2. I mean, that's what's neat about this track. On the apron
it's hard to come off the bottom.
Yeah.
And plus, what you have to understand, Alan, is sometimes we're running 4 seconds at Darlington slower than we qualified. And so when you slow down that much, there's just more room to race. You're able to slide sideways and take up more room because you've slowed down so much.
But it is very narrow at that part of that racetrack. It's pretty neat.
Caution with 23 laps to go set up the finishing sequence. Andy Houston has a cut down and blown out tire that causes the crash, brings out the caution, and Bobby Hamilton, right after the restart, goes after Mr. Musgrave for what would be the winning pass.
Well, they blew their tires up a bunch, I know, to go for that last run. Newton Ward crew chief, they said they maxed him out. And he ran him down, but he couldn't have probably held on much longer, but they didn't need to because the race was over.
That's a science, trying to figure out how much air to put in your tires or how much to let out of them in order to be right for the end. And Bobby gets the lead here. on tires that probably had a little bit more air in them than Ted did. But had the race been a couple more laps long, it'd been interesting to see what happened. We'd have probably had another crash across the start-finish line.
Yeah, three for three.
That was just a lap and a half after the restart that Hamilton got the lead. He hangs on over Musgrave until Ted tries him off the final corner. This will be the last lap of the race.
Slide down into turn 1 here, but it gets a lot tighter as they leave turn 4.
And it's, you know, surprising because Darlington's always got such great races, and yet this race was the longest distance for the first and second.
Usually the trucks, you know, the trucks are the closest, best finishes, but this one paled in comparison.
That's nothing compared to the other two.
Check it out, though. Here comes Ted up underneath Bobby.
Like I said, a couple more laps, it might have been decided.
Well, there wasn't two vehicle lengths for all 3 races total. I mean, it was a fabulous weekend of racing.
Bobby Hamilton's second Darlington win in 3 tries in a truck.
Plus his mission this year is to win the championship, and as we'll see in a moment, I'm sure he's taking the lead in the championship standings. His teammate, his sister's truck, Chad Chaffin, finished in the top 5 as well. That's a great run for Chad.
We actually won't see in a moment, but we will see that on Inside the NASCAR Busch Series.
Oh, so it's Inside the NASCAR Busch Series / Truck Series.
Yes, it is. 11 o'clock Eastern Time tonight on Speed Channel. Check it out. We'll be right back. Now these promotional announcements. Trackside at Bristol, Friday at 7 Eastern Time. Late night Friday, Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain. Check it out on Speed this Friday. We continue now with Speed Fan Q&A, your weekly topics of inquiry for our expert panel. First one from Brent Deering of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Wants to know if a driver has to win a race each year to become enrolled into the Winner's Circle Prize Fund, or once you win a race, are you in it for your career? Survey says...
You need to do a lot more than that because we won a race at Rockingham and not on it.
You have to be up in the points, and usually you have to either be way up in the points and win one race or win multiple races in order to remain on the Winner's Circle program for the whole year. We're on it now, and we're pretty safe, but if someone wins a couple of races and we lose any position in the points, you can be replaced off of it. So it's only good for the time being.
Only a limited number of drivers on the program at any one time.
10, isn't it? Start out with 8 and they add 2, something like that?
10 during the year. And it basically amounts to, what, $300,000 for the team?
I wouldn't know.
Something like that.
Yeah. I know that if you win a race, you're not on it for life.
Yeah, there you go. Next question.
If you win 4, you're not on it for life, are you?
Bonnie Keaton of Redfield, Iowa. Can you explain more about what a wind tunnel is and where they do this testing?
Maybe they get Dave Despain to do that. No way,
This would be unrelated to the Speed Channel television program of the same name.
That's a wind tunnel.
Okay, which one is it though? There's one in Canada. There's
This
one
is
in
the one in
Georgia.
Canada.
There's one in Georgia and one in Michigan.
Michigan and one in California, I believe. But the one up in Canada, we use that a lot. And basically, it just tells you what the balance of the car is front to rear and total downforce and drag.
And you know, we didn't hear much about the old wind tunnel this week, thank the Lord. We had a nice, close race. We had a great balance in the finish. Darlington is an aerodynamic racetrack. You have to have good downforce, run 175 miles an hour around that track. And hopefully we can put that behind us.
Got a question for our panel? Here's how you get it to us.
To submit your questions, visit speedtv.com. Go to the program section and look for Inside Winston Cup.
All kinds of television from Bristol for you, starting with Busch Series qualifying on Speed Friday. See the Winston Cup qualifying, Winston Cup final practice, the Busch Series race on Saturday, the Winston Cup race on Sunday, and don't forget, Race 3 Craftsman Truck Series, Mesa Marin, Bakersfield, Sunday afternoon, 5 o'clock after the Winston Cup race. That'll be here on Speed. Time to preview the Bristol Food City 500 now with our expanded expert panel.
Well, that would be Greg. This is the expanded. And he'd probably be the expert, too.
Yes, just a little over a half mile. Such a great place.
I heard they ground this track to smooth it out. Is that right, Alan? Did they ground it like we talked about every week?
No idea.
No, that was from you talking about you think they should.
I think sometimes when you tell a story 3 times, you believe it's true. This place is rough.
Johnny's car.
All right. See how everybody's lined up around the bottom?
that's about where you want to be. I mean, you got to be in the bottom of the corners. I think a couple years ago, you used to be able to run the top and get around a couple guys.
Yeah.
Awful hard to do it right now, but on the bottom's a place to be, and real slippery place.
A lot of times, right about here is a good place to bump somebody to get around them.
I had that happen in this car.
Yeah.
You can see why people get frustrated, people bump it. I mean, just no.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
There's no
Nowhere
option.
to go.
At Darlington or Rockingham, you can slide all over the place and get some grip, but this place is so rough outside of the bottom groove, your car just won't go. And it's disappointing that we race there with so many people watching on a surface that is so crude.
It's a bad race to watch, a bad race. But it is a very exciting event, very exciting.
It's the greatest show on wheels, but it's probably the most frustrating day you guys will have until you get back there in August.
Yeah, it could be much better. That's my only problem with it.
You had mentioned something about that before.
Have I said anything about maybe they could grind it and maybe try to make the transition from the straightaway into the corner like it used to be in the 80s when my brother and Dale Earnhardt made such great epic battles come to realization?
The thing that's funny, I saw Barry Dotson talking the other day. He says, yeah, it's like putting 43 cars into a blender and turn that baby on. It's pretty cool.
That's what it's like. Pit road rules seem to work out pretty well last year. Actually, almost seemed to be an advantage to be pitted on the backstretch.
Yeah, they have to adjust that or figure that out. But that's a great deal. I bet you Martinsville Speedway saying, man, why didn't we think of that? Because what they did at Bristol is perfect as far as making it one pit road without adding any walls or doing any work.
Yeah.
Carbon monoxide has kind of been a lot discussed lately. Is it a bigger issue at a place like Bristol?
It's definitely a little different from track to track to track, but the shorter tracks, you know, you do get a little bit more fumes in there, but with the fresh air boxes and stuff like that, you just do what you can to drop it down and tone it out and just deal with it.
Okay, I ran out of questions about Bristol, so let's check the championship standings going into this weekend's race. The NASCAR top 10 plus another 20.
Plus another 20.
Matt Kenseth.
I think I'm tied for 10th, but I didn't make the 10th list.
Matt's lead went from 49 to 57 after Darlington. Mikey, 62 back in third.
Right there's Johnny.
There'll be a few more pages before I'm on there, I think.
You'll be on the same page with Kenny, and you both have a bullet. Greg and Kenny with a bullet.
27.
Yeah, I'm a different page.
We'll come back in a minute.
Speed Channel's coverage of NASCAR Inside Winston Cup is brought to you by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Pick Enterprise, we'll pick you up. And by Beechwood Age Budweiser, with a crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers.
Speed News NASCAR edition, a little bit later than normal Sunday because of the Craftsman Truck Series race. 8 o'clock Eastern time.
Did I mention that Andy Petrie was driving in that race?
No, you didn't.
Yes, he is.
You just did. And the race from Darlington, Craftsman Truck Rewind, follows this live presentation of NASCAR Inside Winston Cup.
It's a great race. I just got a new CD. Hootie and the Blowfish just introduced their new
Where'd
CD.
that come from?
I think if you're a NASCAR fan, you got to own this CD. It's incredible.
Where everything else comes from. It's top of mind, stream of
no,
consciousness.
no.
Greg, thank you for submitting yourself to this and rearranging your schedule to do this live with us so Mike could race in the Busch Series race.
Right? Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, exactly. You know, hopefully I'll be in that Busch Series race pretty soon. I'll find something to drive and I'll get back to Busch racing. I love doing that.
We could have taped this at noon instead of 11 and you could have still made it.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, okay.
You might want to give Buffy a call. Mike keeps having days like today. She might be looking for a driver.
Yeah, or
right
Bobby
now.
Kennedy, because he kind of is in charge, and I don't think he's too happy with me today. We thought we were going to win, and I crashed.
When was you thinking you were going to win?
Friday.
Friday.
Way before the race.
Yeah. What do you got going on, Johnny? Anything coming up? Are you going to Grand Rapids?
No, don't have a whole lot going on.
Do you know that Chris Tucker won the qualifier for the BMW tournament in Greensville next week? Chris is my golfer buddy.
Thank you. Would like to explain that a little bit
He's
further.
looking for sponsors.
I was kind of confused.
What do you got going on? Boy, everybody's full of information here, aren't they?
Gave us too much time here.
Yeah.
Well, see, they figured you guys were so full of it instead of...
So full of it? What do you mean? What do you mean so full of it?
That came out exactly like I meant
I
it.
introduced you to my buddy Mikey.
Instead of playing a little video rollout, they let us take it live right up to the top of the hour, right up to 8 o'clock.
Can we get some video of the big hair cutting tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll supply that. I'm going to get it colored, too. Greg, you're turning a little gray, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
You want to come
go with them?
Yeah. We're going to go to New York City. City.
He's
and
got
get our
some
hair
wine
colored.
on the plane.
New York City.
A little Merlot on the
Survived
way.
another
There
week.
we go.
Network executives willing. We'll do this again next Monday night.
You think?
Look for you then.